Welcome, way too nosy state troopers, to Geek Salad's Retro Movie Reviews from the Geek Salad Podcast. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
And it is the month of June. The month of June means new topic, Netflix has Hitchcock.
So it's Hitchcock. No.
Yeah, no, we're not calling it June cock. Hitchune. Yeah. I get nothing.
There is no easy way to do this.
There is no easy way to do that. So anyway, we are going to be going through the month of June, talking about some of the Hitchcock classics that are on Netflix right now. Starting tonight with, because you've already clicked the thing, Psycho. I'll start off with the music on this one because I feel like while everybody knows the shower music, my God, does this music do a lot of heavy lifting.
Yeah. I texted you when we were watching this. It's like, there really hasn't been this kind of much heavy lifting from music in a movie since probably Jaws, which comes out like
15 years after.
Yeah, 14, 15 years later.
Yeah. And it was interesting too because, looking at the trivia for this movie, that Hitchcock actually was so impressed with the music that he actually doubled Bernard Herrmann's salary for this movie.
Yeah. In fact, he originally was adamant that there would be no music throughout the whole shower scene. He did not want it. Bernard, he was like, okay, yeah, I'll make a score anyway.
Yep.
Hey, what do you think of this? Like, oh, okay, I was wrong. Let's have it.
Do it. Perfect. Love it. Yeah, it's incredible because the themes just carry through. And you had mentioned this when we were talking about that it does pick up a lot of the dead spots because, while this movie I think is expertly edited for its time, there's a lot of walking around stuff.
Yeah,
except for cars. I don't know if you noticed this or not. Every time somebody needed to exit a car, they actually left through the passenger side.
I did not notice that. No.
Yeah. There might be a couple of exceptions with that, but every time they're at the Bates Motel, they would exit through the passenger side. Now, I don't know if that was just for efficiency because that was the door closest to the actors.
Well, do keep in mind Hitchcock is British.
That too. But, the steering wheel is clearly there.
But yeah, for the first half hour of this movie, there's a lot of just no one's talking. It's just Marion driving, and they're tense moments. But if that score was not there, it'd be all right, when is something going to happen? But instead, that score is there. Is oh, this whole thing feels a lot more tense, and what's going to happen? What's going to happen?
Well, the other thing with this too is that the I just lost my train of thought. The voiceovers, the use of voiceover in this to convey stuff that they didn't shoot. So all the voiceover stuff is happening at that time, all the conversations and everything. So what I loved about it was the efficiency of it, that we didn't need to see a scene. We just heard it while she is driving.
Yeah, and
it's almost like it's going through her head.
Yeah, like I said, you don't even know if that's actually what is going on, what they're actually saying, but you could tell that is exactly what she's picturing because she's just having that kind of mental breakdown as she's committing this crime.
She's hearing those voices in her head the same way that Norman hears those voices as well.
Well, probably not to the same level.
Yeah, no, definitely not to the same level, but I feel like in terms of acting, this movie's fantastic. Even though it has a tendency sometimes to get a little melodramatic in certain areas, especially in some of anything involving Sam. But it didn't bother me at all. I feel like it worked well. There was a really cool thing too that somebody pointed out, that Marion starts the movie in white underwear. Virtuous and all that. But the second she takes the money, she is now in black underwear.
Oh, I did notice that. Yeah.
But it was interesting too because I really enjoyed like watching her interact with Norman when they're having dinner, and just how she is. I don't know if she's taking pity on him or just like entertaining him, but I thought just the interplay between the two of them was great.
Yeah, honestly, she felt very genuine in that scene. It's like she genuinely was in a sense pity, but also just like trying to actually having an interest in this guy, feeling she actually feels a connection with.
Yeah,
and I mean she's fantastic, but I mean Anthony Perkins is brilliant in that scene. Just the slow, like he seems so nice, but you could tell there's just something just slightly off with him. And the longer that scene goes on, the more that weird something slightly off gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
And you could kind of tell that with the way that the characters interact with him. Marion at first, it's kind of like she knows she needs to get out of there so she can shower and then just leave in the morning. It kind of happens with Arbogast. It happens with Sam. And I thought it really worked well. Yeah, Anthony Perkins, is phenomenal in this movie. It's kind of a shame he did not ever got an Oscar nomination. Now I'm gonna look that up. But he was not nominated for this movie. Only in terms of acting, only Janet Leigh was nominated.
I hope she didn't make Best Actress because she's only in like maybe
she's a supporting actress.
Yeah, she's only in
an
like
award that her daughter would win 62 years later.
Yeah.
Oh, he was nominated for an Oscar. Best Supporting Actor in Friendly Persuasion, 1956.
4 years before this.
Yeah, 4 years before this. So, yeah. It kind of is. I think they pretend to that quite a bit. Especially with just how clean Agnes is about stuff.
It's also kind of sad that the fact that, like, pretty much after this movie, this kind of became the only thing Anthony Perkins could get. I'm sure he had other roles, but no starring roles beyond just Psycho 2.
He was in Psycho 2, Psycho 3. I'm kind of going through his roles as an actor post-Psycho to see if anything shows up that isn't horror.
I know there was a Psycho 4, but was he in it?
Was there Psycho 4 or was there a...
I thought there was a Psycho 4.
Okay, so looking at this... 64...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There was a Psycho 4. It was a TV film, 1990, and it was kind of a. It was called Psycho 4: The Beginning. So I'm assuming it's a prequel. It does have Anthony Perkins, and oh wow, plays a young Anthony Perkins in that, and a young Norman Bates.
Who's that?
Henry Thomas.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, so he was the lead in the movie The Trial, which was directed by Orson Welles.
Oh.
That was 62. So I think that they were still there. I think people recognize that he was... he's a very good actor, but a lot of these parts are, they're supporting roles, they're ensemble. He was in Catch-22. He was in Black Hole.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, exactly.
That
children's movie. But I thought he was fantastic in this. I really enjoyed just watching him and watching certain physicality that he had. There's a point when he's talking to Sam in the office, not in the office, like in the lobby of the office, and he's wrapping his ring finger against the counter. And like nervously.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting. Like when you first see him with Marion, like seems so suave, and then he's slowly cracking. But then as soon as like Arbogast comes in, he starts off the same thing. But the more Arbogast starts prodding, the more he just starts falling apart and completely losing everything.
Yeah.
And so, like, he's fine when he's not challenged.
Right.
The second someone starts like digging at him,
yeah,
his mental state just completely collapses.
Yeah. I wouldn't even go so far as calling him debonair. I would just say that he is just kind of like, he's happy, he's charming, but he's not like, I never once felt like he was being creeped towards Marion.
Yeah.
At all in the movie. It's also interesting too. He is almost always eating in the movie too. I don't know if you noticed that or not.
I sort of noticed that. Yeah. You gotta wonder, like, if, like, when Arbogast is confronting him and when Sam is confronting him, you gotta wonder if maybe in his mind he's hearing Mother is like, you're gonna have to kill him. You can't. They're getting too close.
Yep. The other thing too is I think that maybe he is threatened by men of authority.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about that, the fact that he killed his mother's lover.
Yeah.
He might have felt threatened by that.
Yeah, it seems like the only person he had a good relationship with was was he the mayor?
He was the sheriff. He was the deputy sheriff. And even still, I mean, obviously they didn't know a whole lot about him because the sheriff's wife thought he had normally gotten married.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that he had checked in on him from time to time, but I don't think anybody got close to them at all.
Yeah. And I know, like, there were like 3 different voices for Mother.
Yes.
And they used, like, at various times throughout the movie until that final mental conversation.
Yeah.
And that was just Virginia Gregg. That was.
Okay.
The other names were Paul Jasmine. So they actually had a male voice in there, and Jeanette Nolan.
Yep. And the sound engineer removed the baritone in Norman's voice when he was talking to her. Silence your phone, Mike.
I was like, you know what, it's just once, whatever, and then it just keeps happening. So
it keeps blowing up. Well, today was a big news day, so rain the popcorn on top of me. I really love this. It's been a while since I've seen this. I saw this first time I saw this movie was in college, in film class, and I loved it. But I had gone ages without seeing it, and obviously the fact that it's kind of nice that Netflix not only has these movies because they almost never stream anywhere, but the fact that this is an amazing print of the movie that Netflix has.
Yeah,
this really looks so clean.
One thing I really love about this movie is the fact that, like, very few directors, especially, have, like, the skill to handle a movie that not only changes the main actor, but also changes the entire genre of the movie halfway through it.
Yeah.
And it still holds together perfectly.
Yeah, exactly. It definitely was something Hitchcock knew what he was doing. Now, another movie that does this and it's a complete homage to Psycho, is Brian De Palma's Dressed to Kill.
I've never seen this one.
Which I believe is streaming on Tubi. And it's the same thing where you have your big name lead who dies less than halfway through the movie. In fact, I believe Marion is dead before the halfway point of the movie.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I watched this like in 2 parts of my lunch break, and so I was like, okay, well, she's dead. I'm gonna hit the pause button and see where I'm at. It's like I am almost perfectly halfway there. There's a guy out. Yeah, it is that and Blowout. They're on Tubi, Mike. Watch them. They're amazing.
And you know what? The 2015 Godzilla movie did the same thing.
Yes, it did.
Had Bryan Cranston in there, and he gets killed off real quick.
Yep. But he was part of a larger ensemble, though. That was who was the star of that movie? I don't know. The Godzilla that didn't show up till way later in the movie.
See, Godzilla, Hitchcock. You know what?
Totally. Speaking of Hitchcock, 2 things I love about, and keep in mind, Hitchcock was a completely problematic guy, but you can't doubt his instincts when making movies.
It was fine.
I thought we don't talk about Godzilla 1985.
No, we don't talk about
yeah. That Hitchcock put his cameo so early in the movie. He didn't want people to miss a beat of this movie. He was so proud of this movie. He put his cameo so far in the front that people wouldn't be distracted looking for him later on.
Yeah, and he also went around and bought every single copy of the book he could find, just so nobody knew the ending.
Yep, which was fantastic. Probably a lot easier to do back then too, especially because there was no internet. And I mean, this movie really kind of ruined him in a lot of professional circles too. I mean, he had asked to film at Disneyland, and Walt said, "Absolutely not. You made that disgusting movie, Psycho." So,
yeah. Oh yeah. Also, I guess like the censors at the time kept giving him crap for various scenes. So he'd like send them a scene. They'd say, "Oh, we want you to change. We want you to do make it a little bit less," and they change it a little bit. So he'd take it back, wait a month, send it back to him exactly, and change. Like, okay, yeah, now it's good. Yep.
What's crazy about this movie too is that when you kind of break it down frame by frame, it's not particularly horrifying. You know, especially now because 60 years have passed. We know what happens. We know the shower scene. I mean, I can imagine back in like the early to mid 60s, it was a thing.
Mm. Although I will say though, I have seen some reaction videos online to this movie, and there are a lot of like Gen Z and like millennials who have no idea what this movie's about, don't know the twists, and so seeing their reaction, I'm like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Well, I had a new hire class a few months ago, and two of the girls in the class were wicked horror fans. We were just like killing time, and we were doing like movie trivia, and it was like name a movie from one frame of the movie, and I had Psycho, and they couldn't get it. I'm like, you neither of you two know Psycho, one of the greatest horror movies ever, and they're like, no, and I was like, you have to watch it, and they did. Good to their word, they watched it, they loved it.
Yeah.
Interesting also, Hitchcock did choose to shoot this in black and white.
Yeah, because it was
less gory, and plus that way you can get chocolate syrup down a drain a lot easier.
Yeah, because he had done color movies before this.
Right. And I think it absolutely works for this movie too. Because it doesn't need that pop. And that's the thing with movies of this era, is that movies in the 1950s and 60s, because the color grading process that we're using, everything would pop. This movie doesn't need to pop. This movie is telling a story. But you're still getting the pop from the score. You're getting it from the close-ups. Oh my God.
There were a lot of close-ups in this.
Hitchcock was not only a master of close-ups, but a master of just disconcerting close-ups. I mean, the cop. That's State Trooper.
Not only that, but like when Arbogast first walks into that shop in Sam's shop, and you can just get a close-up on Ernest Borgnine. Wait, not Ernest Borgnine.
Oh, Martin Balsam.
Thank you. Yes.
Mitchell. Yeah. Oh, sorry. He is quite good in this too. What's interesting about Arbogast too is that he doesn't overstay his welcome in this movie, because we're already more than halfway through the movie.
Yeah.
By the time he's introduced, and he could have been a lot more sleazy, and I'm glad they didn't do anything with that.
No, he was actually legit. I mean, like his initial scene was kind of probing a little touch of sleazy there.
Yeah.
But once he actually has that clue, he calls up, not Marion, Marion's sister.
Marion's sister, yeah. God help me. I gotta pull up the cast list here. Lila.
Lila, yes.
Yeah. Vera Miles, who was Hitchcock's last kind of go-to blonde.
I thought what's her name from Birds? Tippi Hedren.
Tippi Hedren? Yeah, Tippi Hedren at some point had enough of his shit. Actually, when did the Birds come out? I remember her being. By the way, Vera Miles is still alive.
Nice.
Yeah. Let me take a look here. Favorite actress of Alfred Hitchcock after Grace Kelly retired, but pregnancy prevented her from many starring roles.
Yeah, he did use Grace Kelly a lot.
He used Grace Kelly a lot. Tippi Hedren, obviously, we know all about Tippi Hedren. And it's just the close-ups, just everything about any interaction anybody has in that movie is the most awkward thing in the world.
Thank you,
63 was the Birds. Okay, so Tippi Hedren had not yet had time to get tired of Hitchcock's shit. So,
but she would get there very quickly.
By the way, the Anthony Hopkins Hitchcock is also on Netflix.
Oh yes, I remember them making that.
Yeah, they made two like docudramas about Hitchcock. It kind of came out around the same time, kind of like Deep Impact and Armageddon, or Volcano and Dante's Peak, the dueling Hitchcock movies.
And
don't even get me started about the fall of 2005 when we had those dueling Truman Capote movies.
Ironically, there was also a dueling a documentary on Mr. Rogers the same time that there was that Tom Hanks.
The docudrama with Tom Hanks. Yeah. I just this movie is just it has earned its place.
Yes.
In the echelon of just film in general. Yeah. You know, taking the genre tags away from it, this movie is just, dare I say, perfection. This movie might be one of the most perfect movies made of this era.
Yes.
Oh my God, yes, exactly. Both spawned of Canon Films.
Oh, curse you, Golan Globus.
Curse you, Golan and Globus.
And I mean, plus, like, Hitchcock's not only do his close-ups, but his usage of fades.
Yeah.
Like the shot of Anthony Perkins at the very end, then
oh my God,
the mother just barely visible, but you can see
so
it.
Subtle. So subtle. I mean, that is the kind of thing I would like. If I had come up with that shot, I would have told all my friends about it. Be like, yeah, look, keep your eyes open, keep your eyes open. It is so subtle, but it works so well.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, if I would ding one thing, it'd be like that exposition dump at the end. But the fact is, like, you couldn't really put it anywhere else.
You couldn't. And at that point, it felt like a play.
What was that?
It felt like a play.
Yeah.
Because you got the psychiatrist who's got this gigantic monologue. The cops go, yes, I was going to bring that up, that Ted Knight is uncredited as the cop at the cell. Let me kiss your ring, Lou. It's Pope Asner.
Was it wearing a hat that you get with a bowl of soup?
But it looks good on you, though. Yeah, no, but I feel like it was needed because, I mean, the thing with this movie is I don't think, I mentioned Arbogast not overstaying his welcome. This movie doesn't overstay its welcome. It is a tight 2 hours.
Yeah.
Because even the driving scenes you need to visualize Marion weighing the pros and cons of going back, the guilt she's feeling, the uncertainty whether or not she's doing the right thing or not. So yeah, I just chef's kiss. This movie is just fantastic. And again, I love this Netflix print that they're using. So on 4K, it looks gorgeous. I do want to talk about one thing also. We don't tend to talk about title sequences all that much.
Oh, yeah.
Saul Bass is one of the best of this era when it came and I think he did several of Hitchcock's. I guess we'll find out in the next few weeks as we talk about more Hitchcock movies. But Saul Bass, that credit sequence is so good because even though he's using straight lines, straight vertical lines, straight horizontal lines, they feel like knives.
Yeah.
Because every time they go through something, it cuts the word into thirds.
Yeah. And the fact that like they're not all equal.
No.
Like, there are some that are shorter and some are longer, so it kind of gives that very disjointed, very chaotic feel to it that that kind of sits you and puts you in the mood. Plus, you got the score going on at the same time.
Right, exactly. And because of the strings also, I mean, you want to do not, the sound of knives, it's strings. I do love too that this movie takes place in like the middle of December and no assholes are like, oh, it's a Christmas movie.
Well, now they are
in California. There's no way it's a Christmas movie. Now
they are. Thanks a lot, Andy.
Yeah, shit. Now let me ask you: have you ever? You've been out to California several times. Have you ever been to Universal, California?
Yes.
And you've seen the Bates House, right?
Yep.
I've been to Universal Hollywood twice, both when I was a teenager, and I was just like, oh.
Yeah. It is. Plus, one of the times we went there, they had like a guy just standing up there, just smiling.
Ah, nice.
The Norman Bates is just smiling there.
Nice.
Intensely creepy.
Yeah. It also blew my mind too when we drove down through the downtown area of Back to the Future, Gremlins, and several other movies.
Yep. All in the same backlot.
Can't unsee it. You can't unsee that once you watch those movies again. So overall, you know what? Fuck it. I'm giving it 5 stars. I'm gonna pop it on my letterbox because I hold off until after we do the review. This is a 5-star classic. You love this movie.
I mean, I haven't seen nearly as many Hitchcock movies as you or John has actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one is one that I have no problem going back to because it's 2 hours, but it moves along at such a good clip.
That's the thing too. You don't feel the length with this. And I've tried to tell some people. One of my coworkers who is huge into horror, and he's like, I don't know. I feel like there's going to be those spots where I'm just going to start losing interest. And I feel like that might just be a thing of the perception of the age of the movie.
Yeah.
The second Scarlett saw is black and white, she's like, okay, you can keep watching it. I'll just go do something else. And what's crazy too is that it's perfect. It does. Yeah. And I've used the term time efficiency before. There isn't a wasted shot in this movie.
No.
There can't be because Hitchcock threw a close up. If there was a wasted shot, we just need to put a close up in there to establish something. It's really. There's also fun. It's funny too because there are some fun things about this movie. There's that scene in the hardware store where the woman is talking about like it doesn't say whether or not it's painful death when she's using the insect killer, and it's just like it's something you have to pay attention to.
Yeah,
but
and
it alleviates the movie for just a minute.
And I picked up a few more things this time about like when Norman and Marion are talking in his office.
Yeah,
he mentions something like he likes to stuff things, and he doesn't. He mentions that he's stuffed things before, and so this time for the first time my mind was like, oh,
yeah,
we know we know what he's talking about there.
He had all the chemicals necessary to do that, to preserve a body for 10 years. Yeah. No, I forgot to ask, when was the first time you actually saw this movie?
Probably about the same time. Same time as you. Well, not the same time.
College,
college,
parallel, yeah.
Yeah, back in college, I got into a few classic movies, and this was one of them. This and The Birds, I believe.
Okay. The Birds also available on Netflix.
Yes.
spoiler alert, we will be talking about that one at some point. And the best part about this too, Mike, is even though I'm giving this one 5 stars on Letterboxd, this isn't even my favorite Hitchcock film.
No, we'll be dealing with that a little bit later.
We will be talking about that this month, so stay tuned.
Yes.
So anyway, I think I've got all I need to say about Psycho. So we want to know, what are your thoughts on Psycho? Where does it rank in your love of Hitchcock movies? Did you know it's on Netflix? If you didn't, go watch it. Check that out. Also, let us know what your favorite Hitchcock movie is. Leave a polite comment below. Don't forget to give us a big thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Write nice things about us on iTunes, because that's really the only one that counts. Also, Mike and I host a little podcast, Geek Salad. You can check that out wherever you get your podcasts. Currently, we have our stack ranking of the DCEU movies up and available for you to shake your fist at the heavens about what we said about them. Coming up next week, we are recording our first, I guess we're going to call it a live episode, even though it will still be available on podcast with a full edit and all that fun stuff. But we are going to be talking about our favorite greatest hits albums. So if you want to get in on that action, if you want to tell us what not only what your favorite greatest hits album is, but also what makes it great. Because you can crap out a bunch of great songs and throw them on a record and call it your greatest hits. What makes it stand out from other greatest hits albums? Think about it. You can let us know. I've already put the call out on our Blue Sky account, which is at geeksaladradio.bsky. We are also on Facebook, Geek Salad Podcast. And until, I think I got everything here. So until next time, I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
Go forth and be nerdful. We'll talk to you later.